Hi, my name is Robert. I am doing the crimes against the person assignment. Um, I chose a crime out of the book where I am describing the elements of the crime first, and these are just the notes. Kind of just ignore this. Um, the crime is going to be the felony murder doctrine. And it starts off by saying, quote, "Today, nearly every jurisdiction further divides murder into degrees, and most divide manslaughter into voluntary and involuntary. Few jurisdictions rely on the common law definition of malice aforethought." That's by Daniel Hall, page 100. And it goes on to say that many states still recognize felony murder. The crime is listed and it talks about, quote, the felony murder doctrine Cole Allen Wilkins committed a burglary of a home that was under construction. He loaded several appliances stolen during the burglary into the bed of his pickup truck. 62 miles away from the burglarized home, a stove that Wilkins had loaded into the truck fell onto the interstate. Wilkins left the stove on the road, and later a driver was killed when he swerved into the path of an oncoming vehicle in an attempt to avoid hitting the stove. Wilkins was charged and convicted of a crime that developed a long time ago, first-degree felony murder. That's by Daniel Hall on page 100 as well. So the next part of the assignment says to define how the crime is defined in different stages, like common law, the model penal code, and then also current day. So let's see here. At common law, so it goes on to say, quote, at common law, one who caused an unintended death during the commission, and then parenthetically it says, or attempted commission of any felony was guilty of murder. This became known as felony murder. Under the early common law, all felonies were punished by death. Generally, most of the crimes that were felonies under the common law posed a great threat to human life. And that's unquote by Daniel Hall on page 100. It goes on to say, quote, homicide and the common law, that's the title. And then it goes, initially at common law, all murderers were punished equally. The murder was executed. And I apologize. Hold on. I guess when I copied and pasted, it didn't copy and paste like the spaces. So essentially what it's saying is that initially in common law, all murderers were executed. It was punished equally. Over time is when the different types of punishment and homicides were categorized. Like manslaughter was different, and then there was incarceration was for manslaughter, I believe, not death, whereas murder was for death. Murder at common law was defined as, quote, number one, the unlawful killing of a human or of two, a human being with three, malice aforethought, unquote. And that's by Daniel Hall on page 99. The model penal code, it says, quote, criminal homicide occurs when a person takes another's life in a manner prescribed by law. The law prescribes more than intentional killings. Under the model penal code, purposeful, knowing, negligent, and reckless homicides may be punished, end quote. And that's again by Daniel Hall on page 97. So current day, excuse me, sorry, my neck's kind of sore. It goes on to say, quote, today most states have felony murder statutes. Generally, the following requirements must be proven to establish a felony murder. So it was on the list that the defendant must have been engaged in the commission of or attempted commission of a named felony. It has to be, also what has to happen is during the commission or attempted commission of that felony, then a death has to occur. And there has to be causal connection between the crime and the death. So most jurisdictions, there's legislature that says what crimes must be committed or attempted where this rule will apply. That's a little bit paraphrased, kind of quoted there by Daniel Hall. page 101. Sorry, my kittens are doing weird things. Essentially what happened with this offender, what wasn't it, Cole Allen Wilkins? He appealed, or I think he appealed it. It just says he won reversal of, yeah, he appealed it. So he won reversal of conviction when he appealed the case because the time from when he committed the burglary to the time where the death occurred was too distant. So they ended up, I guess there wasn't causality in the death from the crime. So how does Utah define murder and or felony murder doctrine? This was the last part of the assignment. So I just pulled up a couple websites. It says for Utah, murder, quote, murder is causing the death of another person under any of the following circumstances: intentionally or knowingly, while committing an obviously dangerous act with the intent of causing serious bodily injury, end quote. And then another quote goes on to say, quote, under the traditional common law felony murder rule, a person could be charged with murder if any person was killed, intentionally or unintentionally, during the commission of another felony offense. This rule extended to victims of the other felony. It could be bystanders, police, or even another participant in the crime. So if you and I are committing a robbery together and you get murdered or killed somehow, I could be responsible for your death. So, yeah. Anyways, that's the end quote there. Well, I guess that last example wasn't a quote, but anyways. So that's all the information I have. I'm going to leave my references in the attachment with the link to this video, and I thank you. Have a good day.